Well, here on Pure 24/7 Radio, it is now time for movie reviews. I'm Nathan Thomas, and I'm joined, as always, by the one and only Andy Godfrey. Hi, Andy, how are you?
Hey, Nathan, it's great to be with you. We had a bit of a break last week
Yeah,
for Easter, so I hope everybody listening had a great Easter. I was preaching in Dunstable and on Sunday morning, and I got the whole church to shout at the top of their voices, "He is risen!" And told them to try and raise the roof. And we wanted everyone to know that Jesus is alive. So, really, really great to be with you. And thanks for having me back on the air. And people on the radio won't see this, but anybody watching the video, I have a new Pure 24/7 cap,
indeed you do.
which I'm proudly sporting. I wore it yesterday to a church coffee morning locally, and four ladies properly downloaded the app. So I hope they're listening to this, and great that we are, getting more and more people listening to Pure, which of course is what we want to see.
Yeah,
Uh, so fabulous.
fantastic. Wow, sounds like you've had a great busy Easter, and what a wonderful thing to do. Have everyone in the church just shouting that wonderful truth that
Yeah,
Jesus is
absolutely.
risen.
Yeah, I said I wanted people out. There were people walking by in the street I could see through the glass doors, and I said, "Let's tell those people out there why we're here." And I just said, "He is risen." And I got the whole church to just shout back at me, "He is risen indeed!" At the top of their voices, and
Oh,
yeah, it was a
brilliant.
real good moment of celebration.
Awesome. Well, yes, thank you. I hope you've had a great Easter and
Yeah,
really excited about today's movie reviews. I think since we've sort of got a couple of weeks worth of films to look at, we're going to do a top 10. Is that right?
yeah, we did the top 15 for one
Okay.
particular reason, but we're looking at the top 15 current box office in the UK. I haven't seen all of them. I've seen most of them.
Okay.
Okay, so we can talk about them. I've been to the cinema a couple of times this week. I had a problem that I was hoping to get to one more screening, but the brakes on my car decided to let me down, and
Oh dear.
I actually drove. And anybody listening to this who's a driver will know how horrendous this is. I drove from Somerset to Milton Keynes on dodgy brakes, but thankfully the car's been at the garage this week, and the brakes are sorted. So okay.
That's good to hear.
So I didn't get to every screening I wanted to, but of the top 15, I think there's only a couple that I haven't seen. And one of those for good reason. So,
Okay, awesome.
do you want to go for it?
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Okay, so number 15 is a film I haven't seen. It's called Working Man. It stars Jason Statham. It's an action adventure movie. Basically, he's taking some revenge on some people who've done some very bad things to him and his friends. This is a standard thing now. So many action movies are basically what appear to be ordinary people taking revenge. We had a film called The Beekeeper last year, again starring Jason Statham, and basically he was playing a guy who's a beekeeper, but it turns out he's got an SAS pass and he goes after bad guys who harm an old lady. This is a very similar scenario. We're getting a lot of these films. I haven't seen it. Those who have seen it tell me there's some good action sequences, but really nothing beyond that. It hasn't set the box office alight. So that's number 15. Number 14 is Death of a Unicorn. Now, most of these we have reviewed on the show before. Death of a Unicorn is about a father and his young daughter traveling to meet his new boss in their luxury home up in the mountains in Canada. And on the way, they hit something. Is it a deer? Is it a horse? No, it's a unicorn. And it's a baby unicorn. And they put this thing in the back of the car. When the little girl touches the horn, she sort of has a magical, mystical experience. It takes her out into outer space and gives her all sorts of visions. But they put the baby unicorn in the back of the car. They drive up to their new boss's home, beautiful home in the middle of the countryside. His new boss and his family turn out to be very obnoxious people who are only interested in money. So once they discover there's a unicorn in the car, how can we market this unicorn? How can we make the most of this? How can we make money out of this situation? However, mum and dad unicorn turn up and they are not happy. And in fact, they are vicious, awful, marauding, revenge-fueled creatures who just want to get their baby back. It's a bit gory. It's very gory actually, but it's good fun for what it is. It's a 15 certificate. Number 13 is one that really interested me. People who have read my book will know that I'm interested in the history of cinema, and I'm particularly interested in the history of some of our more famous actors. And one of the greatest actors of all time is Richard Burton, who has starred in numerous films, probably the most expensive film ever made, Cleopatra, which was 1964, starred with his wife, his soon-to-be wife Elizabeth Taylor. This is a story of a young Richard Burton. Toby Jones stars as Mr. Burton. He's an English language teacher, English literature teacher, and one of his pupils in this small little town in Wales is the future Richard Burton. And he senses in him greatness. He senses in him that this guy can probably act. He senses in him great opportunities for this guy. And so he says, right, I'm going to teach you to be an actor. And it's the story of the young Richard Burton's life. And Richard Burton changed his name to honour this teacher who helped him so much. So that's how he became Richard Burton. It's a really lovely film. I was entranced by it. It is just a gentle rolling, nice film of a young man becoming a superstar and the teacher who helped him along the way. And it is rather lovely. At the end of the film, we see that Richard Burton never forgot this teacher. As I say, played by Toby Jones. Really good. Now, number 12, and this is the reason why I wanted to do the top 15. Number 12, Nathan, we have got The Chosen, The Last Supper. And we all give a massive round of applause that this is doing so well. So we talked about this. This is the first 2 episodes of season 5. If people go to the Pure 247 Radio YouTube website, they can see my interviews with Vanessa Benevitti, who plays Mary, the mother of Jesus. You can also see my interview with the actor who plays Peter. So do go to the YouTube website. Do check those videos out. This is basically the events of Holy Week leading up to Jesus' arrest. And the big set piece is Jesus cleansing the temple, as I said before, looking for all the world like Indiana Jones, standing there with a whip, driving out the money changers, turning over the tables, scattering people everywhere, getting really, 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 really angry. I mean, Jesus, I had a discussion with a friend this week, actually with my mother, about did Jesus sin by getting angry? No, because it was righteous anger, you know? And he was really cross and he loses his temper. And I don't think losing your temper is sin when it's a just cause. And Jesus, we see that scene beautifully played out. A friend of mine went to see it in the cinema and she said the place was fairly full. And we made some inquiries and it's doing really well. Cineworld here in Milton Keynes had one packed out showing. Now, whether that was churches going en masse or whatever, I don't know. I hope so. But it's great to know that it's in the box office top 15. It's done really, really, really well. And, you know, hopefully that bodes well for the future of these kind of films. We'll come on to another one in a minute. But to see The Chosen in the top 15 at the cinema, obviously it's Easter, you know, they released it at exactly the right time. When else would they release it? But genuinely great to see The Chosen doing so well in the box office. Number 11, another film we talked about, and I still want to recommend to families to go and see, is a film called Flow. So this is a silent movie. It's got a great soundtrack, but it's a silent movie, effectively. This won the Oscar for the best animated picture this year. We are in a flooded jungle. We are following a cat as he tries to survive along with some other animals on a rickety old boat on a flooded river. Possibly the Amazon. We're never told exactly where we are. They sail through some what looks like Inca ruins. The story is dramatic. The story is dynamic. There are moments of real genuine peril. The animation is superb. I mean, the animation is absolutely out of this world. And I can see why the people who voted for the Oscars voted this the best animated feature. It's called Flow. Take the kids to see it. Honestly, it's really, really good. And by the way, just a quick heads up, we've got some big Oscar news. I've moaned about the Oscars for years. As you know, I am not a fan of the Oscars. It's now been announced that next year, people voting for films will actually have to have seen them.
Really?
I mean, wow. I mean, why wasn't this in place in 1929 when the Oscars started, for Pete's sake? I've said to you before that it's well known that some of the people who voted for the Oscars have not seen all the films they're voting for. It's now going to be compulsory that you've got to see them. It's only taken them nigh on 100 years to get there, but they finally got there. Thank goodness. How they're going to enforce that, I'm not sure. But anyway, that's a little bit of a heads up on the Oscars. Number 10 is an Indian film that I haven't seen called Kasparari Chapter 2, which is a sort of Bollywood film. and has done really well. But number 9, now number 11, The Chosen, The Last Supper. Guess what? Number 9, and this is featured, by the way, in the new Pure Media magazine. The King of Kings is at number 9. That's incredible. So this is the new animated film from Angel Studios, who've been bringing us some really good faith-based films. They actually bring us The Chosen. And I said to you, they did 3 things. First of all, they got a great cast together. Kenneth Branagh, Uma Thurman, Mark Hamill, Pierce Bronson, Ben Kingsley. They got a top-notch cast. They got top-notch animators, and they decided to tell the Jesus story just as it is in the Bible. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. So what happened was in the 19th century, Charles Dickens wrote a book, which I've been reading this week for his children. And it was called The Year of Our Lord. And basically, in the introduction, he says, "My dear children, I want you to have an understanding of who Jesus Christ was and is," which I think is significant. The "and is brilliant. And so they've taken this. We have this framework of Charles Dickens telling his young son the story of Jesus, and it's brilliant. The animation is superb. To see it at number 9 in the charts, I mean, let's just rejoice. Let's just celebrate. Let's just be so happy. When I saw this, I saw it in a screening room in London. And I was sat next to a young lady, and I asked her what she does for a living. She says, "Oh, I buy films for the Odeon cinema chain." And during the end credits, I was talking to her, and I said to her, "Will you be recommending this film to Odeon?" And she said, "Oh, yes." And Cineworld and Odeon will be delighted that The King of Kings, this animated version of the story of Jesus, has done so well, because they always take a little bit of a risk when they show faith-based films. Are people going to come and see it? Is the audience going to be there for it? I mean, I've sat in 4 films recently, Nathan, but I've been the only person in the cinema, right? And those are action, adventure, blockbusters, supposedly big films with big stars, right? Now this is a big film, so this has become a big film with big stars, but it's done really, really well. And our friends, we are friendly at Pure. I'm friendly with the girls at Cova, who are the distribution people for this, and they are absolutely delighted. So am I. It is a film that is just beautiful. My daughter went to see it twice. She loved it both times. She took some friends to see it the second time, and it really is a great film. So number 9, King of Kings. We'll rejoice in that. Number 8 is a film called Drop. So this is a movie that is 90 odd minutes long and is great for 75 minutes. Okay. So we meet a young lady. She's going out on a date. She's got a young son at home, but she's a single mum. She's going out on a date. Her sister's babysitting her young son. She hasn't been on a date for a long time. She's going on a date in a very posh restaurant with the chap she's met online. She gets to the restaurant and her phone bleeps. And basically the phone says, "We are going to give you instructions to kill the man you're on the date with." She goes, "What? What?" And then the phone says, "Check your home cameras." And basically her son and the babysitter are being held captive by gunmen. "Unless you do what we tell you," another text message arrives, "unless you kill the man that you're on the date with, we're going to kill your..." Now, this is a really exciting scenario, actually, because what does she do? And she's instructed on where they've hidden some poison in the church, in the restaurant, that they want her to drop in this man's drink. For 75 minutes, I was intrigued. I was really enjoying it. I thought, this is really good. The setup's really good. I was puzzling how she was going to get out of this situation, what was going to happen. And then for the last 15 minutes, and I don't want to give away spoilers because it's quite fun, but the film goes absolutely, totally over the top bonkers. I mean, absolutely bonkers. Unfathomable action happens. Stuff happens that I couldn't accept. Stuff happens that I don't believe would have been real. I don't believe the situation anyway, but, stuff happens that I just, no. This is crazy. This is all wrong. The last 15 minutes are over the top, wacky, way out, bonkers nonsense. And I sat there and I thought, really? You have let yourselves down, because the setup of this is really good. The setup of this is really good. but the last 15 minutes, forget it. Number 7 is a musical that's, sometimes now cinemas are showing musicals in theatres in London. It's a musical called Six the musical. It's about drag queens. So I haven't seen that, so we'll jump on. That's number 7. Number 6 is Disney Snow White, which we've talked about, the live action version, which is, and you said you sat and watched the animated version, not a patch on the animated version. This is terrible. This is awful. The songs, I cannot remember one tune of the new songs. I cannot remember feeling so awkward looking at CGI dwarfs for a long time. Give me the animated dwarfs. It wasn't broke. Don't fix it. Don't attempt to fix it. The Snow White, the animated film, is great. This isn't. Number 5, and this is going to, when we do our 3 and 1, this is going to be one of the 3 to recommend. Now, I don't want to say up front straight away, this is a 15 certificate film, okay? But it's called Warfare. We are in Iran in 2006. A group of soldiers, American soldiers, are being pinned down in a house by a group of Iranian gunmen. They are trying to get tanks into the street where the house is so that they can run out of the house and into the tanks and drive away. The thing with this film, Nathan, it's based on a true story, but it's also it's entirely based on the memories of the soldiers who were there. So I think this is one of the most realistic, if not the most realistic, war movie I have ever seen. It is visceral. They don't pull back from showing you the injuries that the soldiers are sustaining. There's one point where a soldier has his leg blown off. We see that. And he's lying there, and one of the other soldiers is saying to a radio, we've got casualties. And the guy who's had his leg blown off is lying on the floor going, who's the casualty? Who took the hit? Well, actually, it's you lost the leg. It is powerful. There's no music. It is like being a fly on the, we are flies on the wall watching what actually happened in this awful, shattering situation. And we are watching the memories of the men. Now, some of them survived, and we meet them over the end credits. In fact, we meet the guy over the end credits who had his leg blown off. And what they have done with this film, many people think that the opening minutes of 20 minutes of Saving Private Ryan, which showed the D-Day landings, is probably the most realistic bit of footage of war movie ever seen. I mean, watch the opening 20 minutes of Saving Private Ryan. It's horrific. We are on the D-Day beaches. Again, we see limbs being lost. We see people dying. We see so. But the thing with that is, when you see Tom Hanks storming up the beach, that he's actually going to survive. Because he's got to be in the rest of the film after the 20 minutes. With this, I didn't know who was going to survive. I mean, you just don't know. It's called Warfare. It's 95 minutes long. It plays out in real time. So when they say the tank will be there in 10 minutes, you can look at your watch and about 10, 12 minutes later, the tank rolls up. So it plays out in real time. I think for me, and I've thought about this a lot, and I do think about movies, I think this is the best war movie I have ever seen. I think it is the most powerful war movie I've ever seen. The Oscars hand out awards for sound design. This needs to be seen in a cinema with great sound, because you've got bullets bouncing off walls, you've got tanks firing at buildings, you've got people yelling and screaming. That we see the family of the house that they are in, in panic and terror. It's called Warfare. I think it is the best war movie I have ever seen. And I've seen, everything from The Great Escape to whatever. Honestly, it is powerful. It is raw. It is very bloody. It is very emotional. But if you can stomach it and you are prepared to put yourself through 95 minutes actually, we're not putting ourselves through 95 minutes of hell. We are putting ourselves through 95 minutes of what they went through. They were actually in the real situation, these guys. But it graphically, more than graphically, illustrates the reality of what it's like to be in the middle of that kind of situation. And I just think it's the best film of the year so far. I'm putting it down on my early list of choice for Oscars for next year. If it doesn't, there's going to be something really good come along. But genuinely, if you could stomach it, go and see it. A friend of mine, some friends of mine at church had a son and a daughter who served in Iran. They're going to see it. Honestly, it is so powerful. It's called Warfare. Number 4 is a 12A certificate, another action adventure revenge movie. It's called The Amateur. So this is, it should actually be called The Semi-Professional. It's a 12A certificate. This is about a guy who's going again out on revenge for some bad guys who've done something rotten to people he loves, basically. And he kind of catches the bad guys in very inventive ways. He's a CIA analyst, somebody who sits behind a computer, looks at screens all day. Suddenly he's out in the field doing all the James Bond stuff, and pretending he is James Bond. It's called The Amateur. But the way he dispatches the bad guys, you think he was a professional. So it's not very convincing. It's okay. Number 2 is a film I haven't seen called Sinners, which obviously appropriate title, but is actually a vampire movie, Sinners. So that's number 2. And then number 1, finally, a film for the family, for kids, a Minecraft movie. So this is a film based on the game Minecraft. It stars Jack Black and Jason Momoa. I didn't think it was that great, but then I've never played the game, and I probably missed a lot of the in-jokes. I probably missed a lot of the jokes that were going on. So I would say it's fine for the family, good fun for the kids. Adults will get bored. But the interesting thing is, and kind of relates to Pure in a way, there's a little song that Jack Black sings in this. It's 36 seconds long. It's entered the charts as one of the shortest songs ever to enter the charts, and it's a jingle for a chicken roast KFC type shop. But I did note that this song has entered the charts as one of the shortest singles ever, 36 seconds. don't bother playing, it's not good. So there you go. There's my top 15. I really want to emphasize those. That's the countdown. That's where we are. King of Kings still hanging in there. Chosen still hanging on in there. Snow White still hanging on in there. For kids, a Minecraft movie. And if you can stomach it, genuinely, Warfare. Best film of the year so far, but very, very powerful.
Wow. Excellent. Thanks so much, Andy. That's the top 15 in the box office at the moment. Interesting you should mention a couple of films about people, ordinary people, kind of being thrown into a very world of espionage and revenge. It makes me think of a couple of Harrison Ford movies. He often plays a similar character like that.
Yeah, he does.
He's got
Yeah.
to, his family's endangered all of a sudden, and he's got to. Oftentimes, he's not got a background of anything in the military, but he's still. So it's a bit rough and tumble, his fighting scenes, but he still gets it done in the end because he's motivated by his love for his family or his colleagues or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, my favourite Harrison Ford of that genre that you're talking about would be Patriot Games, which is a film, again, he plays a CIA analysis, but they send him out in the field where he's trying to find some IRA bad guys who have actually shot his wife and are responsible for his wife ending up in hospital. Yeah, he does. I mean, we all love Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford's a great actor.
Yeah.
So thank you. Yeah, no, it's good. There's a couple of those. Should we mention a couple to watch at home, just for people, very quickly?
Yeah, sure.
So I was a little bit upset over Easter in that if you looked at the TV schedules, you wouldn't see much that told you it was Easter. It was a Christian Easter. That said, BBC Two showed 2 films on Good Friday, both of which are available on the iPlayer. So I'll just mention them. We mentioned The King of Kings, which is the Charles Dickens animated film. BBC Two on Good Friday showed King of Kings, which is a 1961 film starring Jeffrey Hunter as Jesus. Jeffrey Hunter's other claim to fame was that he was the first ever captain of the USS Enterprise in Star Trek. He played Captain Pike, and I'm a huge Star Trek nerd. So that was on, and King of Kings kind of looks a little bit at the life of Barabbas. So we know that when Jesus was being tried, Pilate said, "I've got there's a custom. I can release you a prisoner, or I can release Jesus." And they said, "Give us Barabbas," and Barabbas was this. And King of Kings sort of goes into a little bit about the background of Barabbas, and that's on the iPlayer, worth seeing. And then they followed it up with a film called The Robe. Now, The Robe was a 50s film, famous for being the first ever film shot in widescreen. Okay, first ever letterbox film. The Robe told the story of the Roman soldier who won Jesus' robe when they were gambling for it at the cross.
Interesting.
What happened to him? And it's a really fascinating. It's not the greatest movie ever made, but it's definitely worth watching. And they kind of suggest that Jesus' robe has got magical healing powers. You know, it's a biblical epic, but it's okay. So those two on the BBC iPlayer. Also on the BBC iPlayer, and we've mentioned this before, but on my wall, and I'll move it around for people who are watching on the video, you can see up there a blue poster. That poster was a present from our great friend, the late great Steve Legg. It's a poster for the film Fall, and I reviewed Fall for Sorted magazine. We got on the poster, so on that poster up there on the wall, it says 4 stars Sorted magazine. That was me. Steve was so thrilled that he got it framed for me, and that was a gift from Steve Legg. Steve loved the film as well. Fall is on the BBC iPlayer. This is a story of 2 young ladies who are a bit adventurous, and they decide, rather stupidly really, but there you go, to climb an old rickety radio tower in the middle of nowhere. And they climb 2,000 feet up. They get to the top. There's a very narrow platform on the top. They sit there. They take a few selfies. They eat a sandwich. And then they decide, right, we better climb back down. As they start to climb back down, the ladder falls away, leaving them stranded on top of a radio tower, sitting on a small little platform, 2,000 feet up, no phone signal. How are they going to get down? Now, it's a bit gory towards the end. Vultures start circling. But Steve Legg loved this film. I loved this film. I got a genuine fear of heights. I mean, people who follow me on Facebook will know that I did go to the top of the Eiffel Tower, but I struggled sort of, with nerves going up there in the lift. This film makes you feel dizzy. This film makes you feel. My brother sent me a message. He was watching it. It was on Easter Monday, and my brother sent me a message saying, "I hate you." Why? Because you told me to watch this, and I'm enjoying it, but it's making me feel sick. It's a fantastic film. It's on the BBC iPlayer. So on the BBC iPlayer for people to watch at home, Fall, which is 12A, 15 territory. King of Kings, which is the Jesus story from 1961, very big biblical epic. And also on the BBC iPlayer, we've got The Robe, which is the story of what happened after the crucifixion when the Roman soldiers went away and they carried Jesus' robe off with them. It's got a bit of romance in there. It's a bit mushy, but really interesting for people like me to watch because it was the first ever film shot in CinemaScope, first ever film shot in widescreen.
Ah,
So those are 3 that I would watch at home.
brilliant. Well, thanks so much, Andy. So we've got the top 15 and a few to watch at home. Uh,
Yeah,
it seems as though there's quite a wide variety, as always. You've got action thrillers, you've got some more sort of family-focused films, you've got
yeah,
a couple, obviously, The Chosen and The King of Kings, all covering the life of Jesus, which is great. Perfect around Easter,
yeah.
as we continue to think about that. So yeah, brilliant. Thank you so much, Andy.
Just to say, also on the iPlayer is we were talking about the fact you watched the original Snow White
Oh yeah.
and the live action remake is terrible. On the iPlayer, because it was on TV on Monday, is the live action remake of Dumbo. Don't bother, folks. Go and do a Nathan. Go and watch the original cartoon. The original cartoon of Dumbo is charming and delightful and funny and whimsical and great. The remake, and it gives me great sorrow to say this because it was directed by one of my favourite directors, a guy called Tim Burton, who's made some stunning films. the remake, the live action remake of Dumbo, which is on the iPlayer. Don't subject your kids to it. Show them the original animated film.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Andy. It's been a pleasure as always. Hope you enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you, Nathan. God bless you, and God bless everybody listening.
Pure Media, the magazine, is hand perfected with some of the finest writers from around the world that we could find. And yes, Andy B too. New editions are released just for you on the first Friday of every month, from our family to your family. Pure Media, the magazine, is available now. Sign up for free at puremediafamily.com/magazine.